So in Parashat Mishpatim, the Kabbalah and the Mekubalim see great lesson for our lives. So right after the Matan Torah, when we saw the lights and so on and so forth, Kadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe that he should put this in front of the people. What does it mean, put this in front of the people? In other words, look, take a look at this. They want it, they don't want it. He didn't push it. Sim lifneim. Put those words in front of them. And right away, what do we start with? Eved Ivri. Ribono shel olam, come on. After the big production of this, right away, Eved Ivri. מה העניין בזה בעבד, עבדים? It's a huge issue. We are all slaves. In the 70s, there was a song of Bob Dylan, says you got to serve somebody. In a way, we are all serving someone, something. If you're going to look at the issue of slavery, you'll see that even though slavery per se, being a slave, does not exist in most parts of the world, but yet we are all slaves. The word avodah, la'avod in Hebrew, to work, is the same root of eved, slave. When we become slaves to our work, that we go without even thinking, without a sense of purpose, of why are we going to work? Because that's how it is. We're going to get up in the morning, we're going to go to work, we're going to work, we're going to come home, we're going to go to sleep, we're going to get up in the morning, and on and on and on. This is slavery. If I will tell you, do a job, they will pay you, let's say, $100,000 of that sort, or a job that you're actually going to have meaning and so on and so forth, and it's easy going. I don't know, for example, to be a park ranger. It's a wonderful thing to do. It makes you lose weight right away also. But you're only going to get paid $50,000. Most people will take the $100,000 without a doubt, because they would like to be slaves. And I deliberately use the word park ranger because you're open. Out in the open. So work is a slavery. Going to school is a slavery. The fact that I have to go to school, that I have to go to work in order for me to work, I am working. It all becomes a part of the ongoing slavery in which I'm enslaved to. Many people are slaves to their own life philosophy or dogma, or the political views. For example, if you are a Democrat, you would not going to be able to 99% of the time say, you know what, this Republican actually makes a lot of sense. I'm going to vote for him. You're not free to do that because you enslave yourself with this dogma of being, for example, a Democrat or being a Republican. It doesn't make a difference, one of the two. You confine yourself to these philosophies, and that's a form of slavery. Whether it's a philosophy, education, anything. And this is a horrible way to live life. Most of the people in this world are slaves by choice. Because they don't want to choose. We expanded yesterday, Ben Chorin comes from Bechira. People don't want to choose. You choose for me. You tell me who should I marry, and if I should marry, and then I'll marry this person. You're not at the level of Eliyahu Navi when they told him, listen, okay, you need to get married. Okay, fine, I'll get married. Because it's a mitzvah to get married. We want the other person to make every single decision for us, Because we don't want to make decisions. Why? Because we love this thing of slavery. Rabotai, you cannot live like that. All this, as we said yesterday, all this is a manifestation of the poison, that spiritual poison that the Nachash had put into us. Because right after the filth of the Nachash, the initial snake, we had the curse of Bezeat apecha tochal lachem. You're going to be slave to your own needs, to your own physical needs. You are not going to be able to control yourself, control your urges. That's a part of slavery. You're slave to your yetzer, to your urges. We are very conditioned. We're conditioned. Being conditioned is being a slave. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that. And that's again why we stopped in the middle. That the whole concept of accepting the Torah could only be done by people who are free to have a free choice. It's a yes or no. If you have a slave mentality and you learn the Torah, it will many times manifest into some people learn the Torah and becomes samamavet to them, becomes poison to them. Why? Because the Torah is the ultimate tool for freedom, and you are enslaving the freedom. And that will kill you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that. You have to work for someone. You have to be someone's slave. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling you, why are you going to limit yourself? Why are you going to... We say that as limited, you are going to be as limited as your master is. So why limit yourself? If I'm going to decide that I am Eved Hashem, I'm the slave of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, since HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Kol Yachol, and He's endless, and He's awesome, by choosing to be His slave, I am choosing freedom. Because I am free to go wherever I want, to do whatever I can, whatever I would like to. I go anywhere, I do everything. I can choose, I don't want this, I want that. That's why we have to have Da'at Torah. We ask the rabbi this, I have a question and I'm not quite sure, and so on and so forth. But to have a rabbi like a guru, that's not good. The rabbi tells me, pick your stuff and move to Wyoming. Okay, I'm going to... I never found the rabbi would tell me to go to Wyoming, unfortunately. But I would go. Not because of the rabbi, because of Wyoming. But, do you understand what I'm saying? Pick the stuff and go. That's not my way of living. That in a way contradicts the whole what the Torah says. The whole concept of Torah. And then comes the unfulfilled urges and the need to break the rules. Those who rebelled in the Egel, those Erev Rav, those 3,000 people who initiated the whole Egel, the whole golden calf, were those who did not want to stay free and wanted to continue to become slaves to their own urges. And what does it come with? Right away, with orgies and food and uncontrolled behavior. You're going to tell me I'm free. I'm going to tell you, no, you're a slave. You're the greatest because you have no control. Having control is a way of freedom. Not having control is not. Why is that? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world with control. Olam talui al blima. The world is suspended by a thread. It is so perfectly balanced that you don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand the perfect balance of nature. The cause of an effect of everything in nature. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the whole world in absolute control. Shabbat Shalom. And as such, one needs to understand that control is freedom. Because if I'm controlling, and I have control over my situation, I could choose. If I drive the car, and I'm in control of the car, the control of the driving process, I want to switch the lane, I can switch the lane, I want to go this way, I want to go that way, I can pull to the side, I can accelerate, and so on and so forth. But if I go into a spin and I don't know how to control the car will spin out of the control, and then it will be disastrous. And that's exactly what happens to us. The need to be enslaved is from the Yetzer Hara, from the Nachash, from the spiritual imperfection that is put into all of us, that need to immediate fixation, that goes through like a thread through all of our actions. Most of our actions are uncontrolled actions motivated by urges and uncontrolled needs. Impulses. That's a slavery. Not to be able to distinguish, well, do I need this or don't need it? How many times I said, somebody asks you a question, don't jump to answer. Think about it. Think about the question. Think about the reason. What is he really asking? If you have the answer it slowly. Clear, but slowly. Don't jump. All the needs that I have, the need to do this, the need to do that, I want to do, this is all a form of slavery. You could not fully grasp the whole magnitude of Torah when you have such such a slavish mentality. That's why Kadosh Baruch Hu comes and says, Rabotai, let's stop with the protection. Cut. This is the contract. This is the contract. First of all, before you're going to start, you have to remember one thing. You can't be a slave. You're a slave to your fears. We're afraid to die. We're all going to die. It's going to be taken. Look at the remez, look at the chokhmah, the wisdom behind the concept of Shnat Shemitah, or behind the concept of a slave that goes on a freedom after 7 years. On the 7th year, it goes out to free. And by the way, the number 7 and 6 is very symbolic if we're talking about Kabbalistically speaking, about the 3 upper sferot in which you could not enslave. It's beyond your ability. Keter, Chokhmah, Bina. Whatever you do, never enslave your brain. You can enslave your body. Somebody can put you in chains, but don't let anybody enslave your brain. That's the greatest slavery of all. And that's what you allow everybody to do to you, to enslave your brain. Not to think for yourself. Put me in chains, but leave my mind free. By us, it's just the reverse. Our body is out of control, and our mind is confined. This says this is not going to happen. So if you look at the 6 Sferot, the Zeir Anpin, even if you would enslave those, on the 7, on the Malchut, the last one, has to go free. Because the Malchut goes kingship and Keter on the same line. If you're going to talk about 6 days of creation, and then on Shvi'i, on the Shemitah, you have to let go. Understand the concept behind Shabbat. Shabbat, as I said to you, and Rabotai, this is exactly what it is, and we said it time and time again. Shabbat is freedom. Shabbat is the sign of freedom in the world. Where you can have a master that would slave you for 6 days. And Shabbat, Vayinafash, Shabbat, I'm a free man. It's a new concept. Jews initiated the concept of freedom in the world. And I said to you, and I said to you time again, He who wants to enslave the world will go after those who represent freedom, and these are the Jews. The Jews represent freedom. Look who is going after the Jews, and that's the one who wants to control the world, who wants to take away your freedom. Whether it was communism, or whether it's Islam, or whether it's this, or this time is that. That is a big premise for that. If you understand the concept of Shabbat, the Shabbat is freedom, don't you ever dare to say that you're feeling confined or imprisoned on Shabbat because you didn't understand, because that is the mentality of the slave. A slave does not know to have free time. He doesn't have this spiritual ability to overcome that blemish that the Nachash put inside. He needs to work all the time. He is ADD. He can't sit down and relax. Shabbat is your freedom. Therefore, cherish your Shabbat. Cherish your freedom and other people's freedom. And if you see that there is somebody who's being enslaved or somebody abused somebody else's freedom, it is your obligation to speak and to stand up. You have to respect. Because I'll tell you that we are in Sefer Shmot, in Parashat Mishpatim. In Parashat Shoftim, in Sefer Dvarim, Mishpatim v'Shoftim. Just like the Rambam, Mishpatim v'Shoftim. There is the case of Eglah Arufa, right? Eglah Arufa of Yadenu lo shafchu et adam, right? Our hands did not spill this blood. It's because we did not appreciate the need of the hungry, the need of the person that was looking for something. We did not supply that, so we let that uncontrolled urge to come and to do such a horrific thing. If you have a person that is running away for his freedom, it is your obligation to embrace him and bring him in. We are the ones who should learn from what happened to us in the future when nobody wanted us. And if people come knocking on our door for refuge, we are the one who should seek to help them. Because we represent freedom. If we will practice freedom through the eyes of the Torah, we therefore could serve as role models for the rest of the world to do the right thing. So therefore, sign on your flag, on your banner, the word freedom, the word Shabbat, and wave it as hard as you can. And b'zchut zeh, we will able to enter the gates of Torah, to receive the Torah. We would want to receive the Torah. This is, by the way, why many people don't want to learn Torah. Because it would teach you to be free. And most people don't want to be free. And בזכות זה, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא משאלות ליבנו לטובה, ונהיה חופשים לעשות, we should be free to do his עבודה, to worship Hashem, בכל לב ובלב שלם. Shabbat Shalom.